Welcome back, students. Welcome to biology classes. Today we are going to see 10th science biology and we are going to see the chapter number 6, that is life processes. So first we will see the basic introduction related to this chapter and then we will shift to the main topics. So first of all, before going to study the different life processes, first we need to know that what exactly life process is and what are the processes which are included in this. So all living things perform certain life processes like growth, excretion, respiration, circulation and so on. So each and every person or each and every organism and all the living things, what they perform is several life processes for two things, right? The first is for the survival and second is for the body maintenance, right? So the two things which are very important when we are talking about life processes is it is carrying out for the survival as well as for the maintenance. And there are several life processes like growth, that is the increase in size as well as increase in height. Excretion, that is the removal of the waste products from your body. Then respiration, that is the inhalation and exhalation of the air, and that is inhalation of the oxygen and removal out of the carbon dioxide. And when this particular whole process is occurring, the ATP energy is utilized. Next is circulation, that is the transportation of the blood throughout the whole body. So these are the several basic life processes which are working in the body. Now the basic functions which are performed by living organisms for their survival and body maintenance are called life processes. So as I said earlier also, whatever basic functions which are performed by the living organisms, that is for two things. The first is the survival and the second is for maintaining their body. So these two things are very important and these two basic functions are when performed, then it is known as life processes. The basic life processes are nutrition, respiration, transportation, excretion and so on. Life processes require energy which is provided by nutrition. So basically if the body is having different basic processes and such as nutrition, right, then transportation, then excretion, so for carrying out all these life processes your body needs nutrition, right? Your body needs energy and that energy is being provided by the food that we eat. So now we are going to see about the mode of nutrition, right? So there are two basic modes of nutrition. The first is autotrophic and the second one is heterotropic. The word itself says auto means self. So the autotrophic nutrition is the nutrition in which organisms can synthesize their own food, and the example of it can be said as plants, because plants perform photosynthesis in the presence of water, carbon dioxide and the sunlight. So with the help of these three things, the plants are able to prepare its own food, and the process from which the plants prepare their own food is known as photosynthesis. The second type of nutrition is heterotrophic nutrition, where a particular organism cannot prepare its own food, and for this reason they depend on autotrophs as well as they are directly or indirectly they are dependent upon other food sources. For the example, animals as well as fungi. So there are two examples of heterotrophic nutrition, that is the animals as well as fungi, they are dependent on other food sources for their survival. So these two modes of nutrition are given in detail and further explanation. So first we will see about the first type of nutrition, and that is autotrophic nutrition. First is autotrophs. So the organisms which can make their own food are called autotrophs, right? So whichever organisms which are performing autotrophic nutrition are known as autotrophs, and the example of it is green plants. Next is photosynthesis, the process by which green plants make their own food with the help of carbon dioxide and water in the presence of chlorophyll and sunlight is called photosynthesis. So When we are talking about the process of photosynthesis, the green for photosynthesis are the carbon dioxide and the water molecules. So these are the two basic raw materials which are needed to photosynthesis. Next is, now where exactly the photosynthesis takes place. So that is, where is the site of photosynthesis, right? So the plants, right, the plants is containing, the plant cells are containing chloroplast, and there is presence of a specialized pigment called chlorophyll which is present inside the chloroplast, and this chlorophyll is also known as green pigment, and for this reason, as it is green in color, it has the ability to trap the light energy and convert it into chemical energy. So hence this is the process through which the whole photosynthesis takes place. So none another, the site of photosynthesis is the leaves of the plant. Now there is an equation which is given over here to explain the exact photosynthesis, right? So we need two basic raw materials, that is carbon dioxide and the water molecules. So in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, this has been converted into sugar, that is the basic simple sugar, that is glucose. So when the breakdown of the carbon dioxide as well as water molecules takes place, the basic sugar, that is glucose, is formed, and the molecular formula of it is C6H12O6, and it also releases out the oxygen molecules. So this is the main equation which is been explained. Now this particular 6 carbon, how it came? So it needs 6 molecules of carbon dioxide plus 6 molecules of hydrogen molecules to produce the glucose sugar, and it releases out 6 oxygen molecules. So with this, the whole equation is balanced, and this way the photosynthesis takes place. Now which are the events which are taking place in the process of photosynthesis? So there are 4 different steps of it. The first main step is the absorption of light by chlorophyll. So the first step which it includes is the chlorophyll has the ability to trap the light energy. So the first step is the chlorophyll absorbs the light energy. The second is the conversion of light energy into chemical energy occurs. So the second step says that once the chlorophyll absorbs the light, after then this light energy is being converted into chemical energy. The next third step is where the water molecules is been splitted, and when the splitting of water molecules takes place, the high oxygen is of carbon dioxide, and upon the reduction of carbon dioxide, it forms the carbohydrates. So these are the 4 main basic steps of photosynthesis which is taking place by, or we can say, in the process of photosynthesis. Now there are several leaves which contain small openings which is known as stomata, and these stomata are helpful in the exchange of gases. So whatever exchange of gases is taking place, so there are several small cells, or there is specialized openings, small openings called stomata in the leaves, which is responsible for exchanging the gases. Now this stomata is surrounded by a specialized cells which are known as guard cells, and this guard cells does the functioning of opening and closing of the stomata, and based upon the opening and closing, the exchange of gases takes place. And these guard cells also contain chloroplast. So none another, the chloroplast inside the guard cell possess chlorophyll, so it is also going to perform photosynthesis. Now what exactly stomatas are? So they are tiny pores which are present on the surface of the leaves. So none another, the stomata are small pores right? They are tiny spores and they are present on the surface of the leaf, and the main function of it is to do the exchange of gases, that is oxygen as well as CO2. So at the daytime it is releasing out carbon dioxide, it is releasing out oxygen, and it is uptaking oxygen. But while when the sun is not present, or we can say the sunlight is not there, at that time the reverse takes place, that is it releases out carbon dioxide and it uptakes the oxygen, right? So whenever the sunlight is there, at that moment it is releasing, uptaking carbon dioxide, right? And whenever the light energy is absent, at that time it just respires, or the exchange of gases takes place just as the humans. Also there is one another function of stomata, and that is it loses large amount of water, right, during transpiration, and helps in upflow of water. So if more or excess amount of water is present inside the plant, so at this moment the stomata get like it opens, and due to this what happens is the excess amount of water is being transpirated out. So the water, when the sunlight falls on it, so it gets converted to water vapor, and this process is known as transpiration. So whatever if excess water is present inside the plant body, it is all transpirated out. So there is two functions of stomata. First is exchange of gases, and second is transpiration, right? So this is, you can see over here, this is the structure of stomata. So here the green colored cells, right, you can see the dumbbell shaped cells, they are the guard cells, and there is also presence of small dot like structures in it. Those are chloroplasts, right, and they do possess chlorophyll, and through which they are going to perform photosynthesis. In the middle of the guard cell, right, you can see a green colored portion which is having quite enough good space, and that is known as stomatal pore. So with the help of this stomata is said to be open stomata, because the aperture or the pore is open. Well, you can see on the right side, that is the stomata is closed, so there is not enough space so that the exchange of gases can take place. So this is the difference between an open stomata and the closed stomata. So this is all about the autotrophic nutrition. Now we are going to see about the second type of nutrition, and that is heterotrophic nutrition. So in this mode of nutrition, an organism is not able to synthesize its own food. So for the nutrition, or for deriving nutrition, it needs, or they are dependent on other food sources, right? So here in heterotrophic nutrition, there are three modes or three types of nutrition. The first is holozoic nutrition, the second is saprophytic nutrition, and the third one is parasitic nutrition, right? So when you are talking about the holozoic nutrition, this is the type of nutrition where an organism takes in whole food and break it inside the body. For example, amoeba. So what it does is, whenever the animals, right, whenever they uptake any of the solid food and break down it inside their body into simple absorbable forms to easily to easily get all the nutrients from it, so this type of nutrition is known as holozoic nutrition. The second type of nutrition is saprophytic nutrition, where organisms feed on dead decaying material, or we can say dead decaying matter. So whichever organisms that feed on dead decaying matter, those all organisms are known as saprophytes, and they perform a specialized nutrition which is known as is in paramecium, when the food particle is nearby to the paramecium's body, the whole body of paramecium is having cilia on it. So with the help of the cilia, this body is, or the body is being of nutrition which are observed in two different animals. The first animal is amoeba and the second is paramecium. So this is all about the two modes of nutrition, that is autotrophic and heterotrophic. I hope you are very clear with today's topic, and I hope to see you again. Thank you.